Okay, thank you very much, Mazi. It's my pleasure to have you, Biafrans all over the world. Good evening, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you might be. And on our end here is 4:38, and I believe that we have series of Biafrans all over the world following us right now. And I hope that as you join this program, you like and share and invite your friends. We are on Biafra Television live broadcasting. We are also on Rapture Media, on all uh, uh, Biafra social media platforms, also on YouTube. It's my pleasure to have you today, 6th of January, Saturday, on this wonderful, great program. My name remains Mazi Ikem Patrick DK, and it's also my pleasure to have our brother who would be introducing himself. As you all know him, he's an analyst and also part of the struggle for Biafra restoration. Mazi, can you please introduce yourself? I don't think you need introduction just for the sake of respecting the protocol. Mazi, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you so much, Mazi. I actually thank you for this opportunity and the member of the crew members of this great platform. I remember Mazi Chika Austin, and of course, a committed Biafran, and one who have also tried his best in contributing as regards to this struggle. And I want to once again thank our great listeners, irrespective of where we are listening and watching at this very moment. I want to say thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you very much, Mazi Chika Austin. I just need to get the confirmation that we are on platforms, BTV Live. We are on all IPOB platforms on social media and possibly also on Twitter. And we'll also be entertaining calls briefly as the program proceeds. Um, but we will be taking the first point of discussion, which everybody is aware of, the continuous illegal detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And I also hope that in the future we will also be bringing in the legal luminaries to come join us here to educate Biafrans more on the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have continued to be detained, and why should even the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be entertained in court, considering the fact that he was extraordinarily rendition from Kenya, which was an illegal procedure. We know that we live in a country where laws do not function, but at the same time, I think at some point in the history of a people, if they are reasonable enough, they should have been able to, you know, do things at least right for once, considering the fact that the whole world is pointing the light on them. Mazi Austin, what do you think from the battle we've gone through over the years, for the past 2 years now? Can you please give us a little? I know that you are not in the legal industry, but I know that you can also throw in one or two opinions because it's a question of opinion, considering the fact that the case is still in court.
The issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's persecution, because it's no longer prosecution, one does not need to wear the legal regalia to understand that what we are having today is executive, attempt to gag the judiciary. And of course, like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu usually tell us, he have instructed us. He had sometime in one of his broadcasts, stated it emphatically that I will defeat the zoo in their court. So he actually predicted the now we are as regards to his legal procedures. He and which we saw he defeated them in the lower court. They various high courts. We also saw what happened in the appellate court. We also saw him defeating the Nigerian state. And of course, what we saw is the Nigerian state, especially the executive, rising up to say, if we allow what happened in other areas, if we allow the justices we saw that prevailed in various levels of courts to happen in the last level of the bench, which is the Supreme Court, that definitely is going to speak very, very bad for them. And we now saw executive interference, we saw executive rascality, and an attempt to suppress justice. But one thing we should understand as a people is that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a freedom fighter, who is trying to emancipate, who is on the vision or the project of emancipating the people who are, the light of the Nigerian state. So it's not going to be an easy tussle. That is one thing we should understand. So these things we are seeing happening within the judiciary, executive recklessness, and what have you, is part of the things you see. These are part of the things, processes you should expect a defensive platform or a defensive state playing, is part of it. But we should understand that what depletes things like this is our resolute spirit. We must understand that. This is, if you look at from historical perspective, if you look at from historical antecedent, you would agree with me that we have seen cases like this in one or two places. History is rich with references, strong references, where we have seen the state, using the instrument, the naked power, to suppress or to a kind of shout down on those who are seeking for the project of emancipation. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's own cannot be different, in as much as he is keen to the project at which he has presented before each and every one of us. We shall expect things like this. But nevertheless, I also want us to understand that the Nigerian state, every single time they try to cut short, every single time they are trying to use the instrument of naked power, they end up depleting the little respect and trust they have. And this is what is happening all over the Africa, West African sub-region. You can see the level of disrespect. Even smaller countries are giving Nigerian states, simply because actors are
I think we have to go there later.
okay. So
I
so
think we
they,
have to
it has a
dive
whole
into.
lot of effects. Yes, it has a whole lot of effects. So they are not, if they think they are humiliating Nnamdi Kanu, they should understand something, that they are voluntarily demarketing the Nigerian state.
So, but Mazi Austin, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and I would like to ask you this question. Um, with the attitude of the Nigerian state towards Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and its failure to abide by its own court orders, is it not a sign of desperation on the part of the
Yes,
executive?
you might be right to describe it using the word desperation, but for me, I might not. The term desperation might not really be a selling language or a selling description for me, because I don't see Nigerian state as only being a desperate state. Of course, when we even use the word Nigerian state, I think we are trying to even give them an accolade that is not really there in reality. What we have in Nigeria is just a kind of uh, geographical expression that's being managed and run by criminal elements. Let us not make mistake about that. So these individuals, who are less than 1% of the population, are not even doing anything to preserve Nigerian estate. Nigeria is an estate by all definition. All they are doing is to preserve that estate by crook, in disregard to the law. Because along the lines, these guys have been an expert of lawlessness. So if you understand the geographical expression called Nigeria, you will understand that is mainly an entity being run by less than 1% of the population. People with zero character, people who are known to have done all manners of illicit businesses. In fact, whatever financial treasure you see them flaunting here and there is as a result of criminal activities. So when you have this kind of people being confronted with a decent man like Nnamdi Kanu, intelligent, character-wise, reputation-wise, integrity stockpiled, you don't expect them to fight on legal platforms because they have lived all their lives in illegality. They are experts in forgery. They are experts in drug peddling and all manners of illicit activity. So when you expect them to contend on intellectual platform, you will see them destroying the platform because this is where they have disadvantage on. That is what it is all about.
But Mazi, do we have to put the blame on the ruling party itself? Because we have seen the activities of this ruling party, APC. No, considering in the past, we know that even the People's Democratic Party have their own criminality, but APC have taken it to a different level. How do you look at the whole scenario so far
For
in
me,
Nigeria?
personally, by my own opinion, I don't see this problem to be a party problem. You should first of all understand the social composition of Nigerian political circle, or should I say leadership circle, so to say leadership circle. Irrespective of political affiliations, they share one thing in common, that Nigeria is where anybody who manages to find themselves within the circle should loot, destroy, pillage. So if you say is APC affair, even when PDP takes over, the criminals in APC will overnight turn to PDP members. So this is not basically political ideology thing. This is a kind of gangsterism. Gangs have taken over a system, and this is exactly what the Western players love. Because when you have a system that is absolutely run by criminal elements, it is to the advantage of certain players, and that we must understand. So it's basically not party thing, rather a kind of gang thing. Those who find themselves within that circle, irrespective of their party affiliation, they aim at one thing, that Nigeria is the only country on earth where somebody can loot over 6 billions. And when he's asked, why did you steal? He said, snake swallowed it. And that ends. So it's not party thing. You get, so it's not party thing. And we must see it for what it is. That is my submission.
So, Mazi Austin, so far we have seen, considering the ferocious nature of the those in position of authority, considering that if really they had evidence to nail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or bring him to justice as they proclaim, they would have done that long ago.
Mhm.
Now, how do you think and what do you think is their next objective in trying to get themselves off the hook because they are on the hook, despite the
Well,
fact that, yes.
as a matter of fact, no freedom fighter have ever been legally nailed in the history of freedom fighting. State has never seen any law to nail any freedom fighter. One thing that is common, the common way of silencing fighters all over the world is assassination, killing. Why am I making us understand this? When you say state have convicted a freedom fighter, that particular state finds it difficult to sell that concept because no freedom fighter has ever violated any law because the law for self-determination predates any other law. It's a natural law. To ask for freedom is a natural law. It's not a product of human making. It predates human constitutionalism and all the rest of them. So, for the fact that all over the world, historically speaking, all the freedom fighters were either killed extrajudiciously or bribed into silence. These are two methods. So, in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, it is all about divine providence. Because where Buhari project was to assassinate him in Kenya. What transpired in Kenya, we do not understand the miracle that happened in Kenya because we are interpreting it from one side of it. But to be honest with you, from the point at which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was captured to the point of transiting him to the Nigerian soil, anything can happen within that period. He could be assassinated and everything will just go that way. But because Almighty, in His infinite mercy and grace, is in the business of what we are doing, He put confusion to them and they kidnapped him and brought him home. And all this while, it has been stormated. But I want us to understand this. Hence, the assassination project could not be executed in Kenya. What they are currently doing is to see how to weigh him down. How do they weigh him down? Put a lot of crisis on his followers. Those who are gullible should be made to fall apart. And in the other way around, also telling him that even your followers are in disarray is a mental thing. The American state operates the same thing in Guantanamo Bay, where they tell some of the freedom fighters in Middle East that their organizations or their movements are, and in other way around, they try as much as possible to also tell their followers that even your leader is also getting tired. So it's the stateitis. In the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in as much as IPOB is still intact, the Nigerian state cannot play the card of elimination. Trust me on that. They can only play the card of elimination when they know that the movement that's supposed to, play the card of consequences of that action is in disarray. That is when they can easily have their way. But every time they review IPOB and discover that IPOB is still waxing strong, for instance, prior to the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there was nothing like this platform. I'm talking on this the way it is today. So when they now see that there are a lot of innovations, despite things happening, despite the long incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that these people are engaging diplomatically, media, there is a lot of innovation happening. It becomes a difficult card for them to play. So that is what it is.
So, because we've seen since the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Extraordinary Rendition from Kenya, we have seen series of attacks on IPOB, and many people would not believe that these attacks are coming from from the criminal state of Nigeria. A lot of people believe that these attacks are just coming for the sake of it, not understanding the rudiments of the operations of the of this criminal element within the Nigerian state. So are you telling me that so far so good that IPOB over the past 2 years have been able to sustain the momentum, or like many people are believing that IPOB is dead?
Now let me tell you something, Mazi. You see, the reason why we should be steady in exposing our people to history is because life is in continuity. Nothing we are seeing today that has never happened to other people in time past. That is a mistake we are making. Any day we are abreast with history, we start appreciating a lot of things. We start, being less fidgeted over some certain issues. What we saw in IPOB, especially after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, was part of the way secret services operate all over the world. It is called infiltration method. And our people need to be taught about that. Do you understand me? And also, if you and I have this mindset that a country like Britain, America, and other Western partners that are gaining a lot from Nigeria, that are rich in intelligence asset, that they will engage IPOB on intelligence confrontation, that it will not somehow affect IPOB. We are not sincere to ourselves. We are talking about entities that have over 2 centuries or a century and over 100 years. They have evolved on mental and psychological manipulations. And you think when they deploy it on you, you won't have some of your brethren fall out. If you think that, you're on a self-delusion. If we think that, we are deceiving ourselves. So what we saw after the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the deployment of psychological warfare. It's a hybrid war. Our people cannot easily understand it because how many of them are aware of it? Yes. And if anybody thinks that on psychological warfare, that the enemy will fight you with an outsider, you don't know what is happening. It must be an inside thing. So that was what we saw within the 2 years. But thanks heaven, we all survived it. It was really miraculous that the whole thing was solved and we moved on. But that does not also mean that they will fold their hands, not to also try. But we must sensitize our people that there are versions of warfare. Our people only talk about war. When you see them talking about war, they only understand the conventional warfare, the trench warfare. But they don't know that that is the weakest form of war. The most advanced and sophisticated warfare is asymmetric warfare, or you might call it psychological warfare.
But Mazi,
Because
just hold on. We also saw that during the Biafra War, where lots and lots of propaganda was also used during the war.
yeah,
And while our people were busy looking for bullets, looking for hardwares, Britain
be-
took the contract of selling information. Go ahead.
because our people, our fathers only understood war from conventional side. And let me tell you, these powers, these entities don't fear your conventional approach because they understand that is the last resort. And they understand when they use conventional approach, which is the open war system, that there are a lot of countries that will say, no, why are you killing this? Why are you doing this? So they do more of deployment of psychological warfare because no bullet is being shot, but you're working for them ignorantly. You're destroying your project not knowing. And that is exactly what they deploy on us for the past 2 years. But thank God, we were on our ground and we are marching.
Mazi, listen. When we talk about conventional warfare, we also saw, because it is important that we bring our memory back into history of our own direct experience that we had between 1960 and 1967 to 70, where we even have some Igbos deny their own identity.
Mhm. And why? Ask yourself, why was such done? Because I could remember I was taught by late Professor Elechi Amade. Elechi is an Igbo name. Amade is an Igbo name. He's from Avon. Sorry, he's from what is it called? Alo. Yes, Alo in River State. Alo speaks Igbo. Professor Elechi Amade taught me some literally works of art. And one of the questions I asked him when he said he was not Igbo, I said, sir, but prof, your name is Elechi, and Amadi. I was trying to invoke the narrative of Benin and whatever. Now, those people were also victims of psychological warfare. They were never shot, but somebody made them to think, first of all, to think that associating yourself with the identity Igbo means death. You see, Mazi Patrick, our people do not understand the vicious circle warfare we are fighting because our people understand one side of war, and that is the height of stupidity. They never knew that leadership for from years now have been remaking the Igbo identity. When you see the buildings going all over Biafran land that are popping up on social media, these are policies of the leadership. Because until you are proud of your identity, you cannot fight for defensive of that identity. People do not know. Because our mentality is the conventional understanding of warfare. No. The identity Igbo was heavily demarcated. That when you want to associate, if you want to say you are an Igbo man, you feel ashamed. Do you know, it got to a point, Mazi, that even some of our brethren from Ebony, we are a kind of distancing themselves from the identity Igbo. These are advanced and the hybrid warfare the Western nations deployed against us. And today, when people do not understand why leadership at the background secretly encourage the media warriors to start popping out beautiful houses, showing our billionaires brothers in their exotic and aesthetic display of wealth, they think we are stupid. No. You first of all build what we call racial pride. Because it's only when people understand how the glory attached to their race that they can defend it. It's a psychological thing. But people do not understand. So, because our people believe that until gun and bullet is involved, that is when they are in war. But they don't know that the most sophisticated warfare is when you lose the war of mind, not the war of trench.
Mazi,
That is
we also saw the economic war. That angle also will be put into perspective because it is important that our people understand the strategy of the Nigerian criminal entity to create a scenario where our people will be disenchanted and even going back home to invest by creating artificial criminality, kidnapping, and doing all sorts of things in the eastern region.
our
What is your
yes, it's also part of it because the leadership of IPOB came up with a severe campaign of invest home. Remember, the campaign has been going on for the past 2 years, and of course, our leader was the initiator of that heavy campaign, and signals were sent among the media platforms, which I think you also in the know that we have to bring the best of our identities to the world. That is marketing ourselves. But do you know what the enemy did? They understood that if they allow us, we are going to cripple their economy. Because when you repatriate the resources, our resources that are outside Biafran land, if you repatriate them home, a lot of things will play out. They know that, for instance, if we industrialize our land, the rich amongst us will start pushing for opening of our waterways so that they can have access to international market. They know that, and they can't stop it. There is no how you will convince a man who is finished producing in Biafran land and you tell him that he can't have access to any water. They will be put under pressure by our billionaires and our investors, indigenous investors, to open the waterways. So they came to the realization that if they allow this thing to happen, these people are going to unify. The rich and the average in Biafra are going to unify, and they forced them to open this channel. What did they do? They started funding insecurity. To the extent, one of the chief contractor they contracted, tweeted and said our people should not go for Xmas. It was conspiracy theory, infusion of fear. He tweeted and said our people should not go for Xmas because they know that if our people come back home and see absolute peace and tranquility as they observe during the festive period, that there will be need for investment at home. So they use the idiot to to,
Sorry
to
for that
attempt
interference. Go ahead.
to infuse fear in the land. But thank God for leadership. The leadership was able to mobilize the Biafran people, and we killed that narrative. And of course, you see what happened. Throughout the festive period, everywhere was calm. There was absolute placidity. Tell me, those people who came and saw that level of peace, if someone have a building project, are you telling me he's not going to start this year to put resources in that? In so doing, creating job for the people. So, but these guys are trying to a way to make sure they use our misguided brothers to destroy the project we have at hand.
Now, Mazi, there is a question I would like to put across to you, because we are kind of trying to educate, and in the shortest possible time, we'll also be opening the line for those who want to call in and make their contribution. We are going to try as much as possible to make this program brief, because other programs will be coming forth later. Now, Mazi, the question I would like to put across to you is the urge, that have been put on our people through inciting their emotions to go for an unprepared war, by so doing depleting our economy in the eastern region. Can you please educate our people the importance of being economically buoyant for you to be able to really go to fight? Because you cannot fight with an empty stomach. Also
Well,
considering the fact, that between 1967 to 1970, during the war, that economic stagnations and economic policies were even a major factor that gave victory to the enemy.
well,
Go
Mazi,
ahead, man.
I will not respond to that question without drawing our mind on something. You see, there's difference between, there are two approaches to achieving certain things. You can use the federalist approach. You can use what we call sectorialism, sector upon sector developments and advance. Whichever way, people all over the world have come to an agreement that sectorialism seems to be the amazing term. Ask yourself this question, Mazi. How many years did our leaders spend on media information to our people? It's up to a decade. Do you know that?
Absolutely,
Do you
yeah.
know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, up to a decade, up to 10 years, he was doing nothing than media sensitization? After he now discovered, he took a sampling opinion and discovered that the people have caught the fire, that an average Biafra even have up to 3 social media accounts. Do you know what he did? He now moved to another sector, which is defense. He established ESN. If he had established ESN before informing the people will mess the whole thing up, because they are not mentally fit to understand what and the purpose of that vision. This is what our people do not understand. Now, when people talk about war, there are certain things you should consider. Of course, IPOB is a non-violent movement, because people do not understand IPOB from that perspective. When you talk about war, there are certain things you must be sure of. One, which is the major thing, you must have a reliable ally for supply chain. Even America cannot go to war without being sure of what we call supply chain. Go and research. As big as America, before America goes to war to any country, why America could not fight in Yemen against the Houthis in Red Sea, why America could not fight that war is because Italy was not interested to be refueling American jets. And that is what we call supply chain. Because Italy is not interested to allow her air base to be used for refueling. In the same way, Cyprus was also skeptical to also provide the refueling. America look at the reality of supply chain and backed down. That is one thing our people do not understand. You must have a reliable ally. The Houthis in Yemen are sustaining their strength because they have a reliable Iran to count on. The Hamas are giving Israel headache despite Israeli advanced technology because they have Syria, they have Lebanon, they have Iran as a reliable allies. Do I count about the ROFs in Sudan currently? You can see they are almost knocking off the country's military in Sudan because they are busy building allies. Ethiopia is there for them, Kenya is there, UAE is there, and other entities. So sometimes it sounds so funny and stupid when our people are not even interested to understand international politics. One thing we must understand is that the reality we said we are not interested on will stay at us. That is how nature have made it.
Mazi, don't you think that the strategy is to
Mhm.
incite our people to
No,
come out to yes.
why am I taking time to say all these things? Because if we tell if they are exposed to these realities, they will now understand the danger they are confronted with. You see, sometimes I laugh. Even somebody who is talking all these things doesn't even know the waterways for supply. Most of them, if you ask them where is Gulf of Guinea, they don't even know. Most of them, if you ask them what is the nautical miles from Biafran land to the Atlantic, they don't even know. And they can know. But you see them, talking what they don't understand because somebody is bankrolling them to force us into going into a mistake that will cost us a lot. But thank God for the wisdom, especially amongst those piloting the struggle and our great leader. You see, people do not understand. You see, when some of them think Mazi Nnamdi, ask yourself a question. Why is it? Why did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu floated ESN and called it network? Why didn't he call it defense? Why didn't he call it military? Because our people are naive. Because our people do not understand what PR is all about. They think you can do anything carelessly without consequence. So until we start thinking smartly, we'll have a lot of problems staring at us. That is what I think.
Mazi, thank you very much. Quite interesting. We're also looking at the what is happening in the Sahel region presently. But I would have even loved that our people put a call across to put their opinion before we move into the next topic. But I know that the moment we open the telephone, we're no longer going to talk about other
Okay,
important topics.
we can also have
But
them. We can also have them call in. Then we finally go to the Sahel region, if you so
okay,
desire.
so I would like the line to be put on screen. I would like the line to be put on screen. It's a WhatsApp number. 371. If you are calling from outside Italy, you put the 39 This is a WhatsApp call. We will be entertaining calls because we are going to try as much as possible to make this interaction brief so we can give space for subsequent programs that will be coming in line. Because it is also very important that our people throw their own opinion so that it doesn't look as if we are in what is it called? We have a man of God sitting on the pulpit and
Yeah.
nobody is asking the question. So we are going to make it a kind of a Sunday school. We're going to give you that Sunday school approach according to religious people, where people can ask questions because multiple opinions are needed. As we move into the Sahel region, we've seen series of activities happening in the Sahel region in recent time. We have seen alliances. We also saw the same Nigerian approach towards IPOB, applying the same thing to a sovereign state of Niger Republic. Of which, if it was possible for them to do an extraordinary rendition for the military juntas, they would have done that. Maybe they would have just sent some. If it be they were already doing that when they saw the weight and they saw that the public was not on their side. Because what they wanted to do was to go to war in Niger Republic. But today we have
And
seen the
that would have been the most decision ever taken. Could have been most
Mazi,
dangerous
I think we
decision.
have our first caller on this
Uh,
program. Hello, caller. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening to you, Mazi Patrick, and good evening to our brother, Mazi Chika Austin.
Mazi Chika, is it coming clear?
yes, it's coming clear. I can hear him. Good evening from here, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to briefly thank you for showing up on our platform. It's a very nice thing seeing you. I used to enjoy your morning program with one back home, and I don't know why the program stopped for some years now. I think about 3 or 4. I was happy. I'm so happy to see you. So that is all. And you should be coming on to educate our people more on this issue of why they should continue. Because some people are showing behaving as if they are tired, but they don't know that freedom fighting is not like that. You have to continue until you get what you're looking for. You don't just get tired and go back and they leave your leader that is in the detention. That he's there today is because we are still moving on. And I want to also use this opportunity to thank our people anywhere you are, and you are working seriously to see that IPOB continue. Thank you very much. And
Mazi, I
whatever
want
you are
to ask you a
supporting
question. Have you shared this program on your platform? Have you shared it on your Facebook? Have you shared it?
Immediately I got the notification, I shared it.
Thank you very
that's
much.
my work.
Thank you very much, Mazi. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate. I think we'll be expecting more calls. We'll be expecting more calls because you know that Biafrans like interaction, and as we proceed to the activities that are happening, we've seen the economy of Niger Republic turning around and moving rapidly in a positive direction with the kind of alliance that is being built all over within the Sahel. And we are seeing the zoo being left behind. Mazi Austin, can you please?
Yes, they they the zoo needs to be left behind because reality is stepping in. Mazi, many years ago, we predicted all these things. It's just that maybe we lay hold on some of the documents or places we have predicted about all these things years ago. You see what is going to happen? It's better I say it here because I know in this platform, the good, the bad, and the ugly are watching. Let me make us understand. Nigeria is going to be attacked by those guys. It doesn't matter how you say it. It's going to start from annexation. Those guys are going to announce some northern states, and that will be the process of instigating the problem. One thing we've not realized is this: Nigeria fumbled a lot. If Tinubu was wise, or Tinubu handlers, or for Nigerian foreign ministry handlers, if they were wise, they wouldn't have put up the threat in the first place. Do you know what that threat led to? It led to the formation of a big country within the Sahel. And ask yourself, why is it that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are now going into confederation? Why? The reason being that they have realized that they have a Western backing dog in West Africa that needs to be confronted, and that is Nigeria. But they understand that on individual state level, if they want to confront Nigeria, Nigeria will crush them based on the numerical strength of Nigerian army. I'm talking about numbers. So what did they do? They are now coming to form a common pool. Numerically, land vast, hardware and software vast, in order to force Nigeria to her knees. Abuja has expressed concern over this because Tinubu's government said they are not comfortable with alliance. But that is their own cup of tea. One thing that is happening in Africa is that people are getting tired of any country that have allowed the Western powers to use them excessively. It's happening in Sudan. Mazi, can you believe that the leader of ROFS, the other faction fighting the military, the Sudanese army, can you believe, Mazi, as I speak to you, the guy has visited Rwanda within this week, last week and this week. He has visited Ethiopia, he has visited Kenya, he has visited South Africa. Look at these countries he visited so far. Who are they? They are countries that are in strong alliance with Russia and not the West. South Africa, as of today, is an anti-West policy, which is obvious. They showed it on their stand on Ukraine. They are showing it on their stand on Israel. They are anti-West. Ethiopia, the same thing. Ethiopia does not have a good relationship with the West. Rwanda, the same thing. Kenya, we also saw the Kenya president asking for de-dollarization of international trade and investment. This guy refused to visit the so-called giant of Africa. What does that speak? It shows that Nigeria does not have any influence as far as African leaders are concerned. They don't regard the country as a country. They believe Nigeria, that another big boys, another club have emerged that want to crush everything that opposes the renaissance or the movement of African people. We must also understand that even when Nigeria threatened Niger under the so-called restoration of democratic leader, Algeria told Nigeria that you and ECOWAS cannot do that. Egypt the same way. Mali the same way. Burkina Faso the same way. And guess what? Abuja politicians chickened out because they know that if they cause a trouble, the Nigerian citizens they have frustrated will catch all of them and hand over to Niger to punish them for them. So what are we trying to say?
Which will definitely happen at some point. Let's take this call. Hello, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello, caller.
Mazi Patrick. Yeah, this is Mazi. Good evening from Japan land. Mazi Patrick.
Yeah, there is a noise. There is a lot of noise in your background, please. Can you give
Okay, I'm at my working place.
Okay, go ahead and make it brief. Make it brief.
Yeah, there's one thing much thing you have to say. I want to appreciate what IPOB is really doing. I appreciate the leadership so much. I appreciate the wisdom from Mazi Chika Austin. He is really analyzing what is interesting on this platform. I say the school carry and continue to bless and give IPO leadership more wisdom to lead this struggle to the end.
Thank you very
He said,
much, Mazi.
Our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
We have another caller, Mazi. Let's see who is on the line. Hello, caller. Please, it's noisy. It's noisy. Can you please off your listening device before you talk to us?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Can you introduce yourself and tell us where you are calling
Yeah,
from?
my name is Victor.
You are Victor. Victor, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. I just have two things to contribute.
Go ahead.
I might not talk much. Please, I want to suggest, please, that Mazi Austin will always come in on programs, in different programs, in different platforms to educate our people. It's very, very important. Most of us, most people like us do enjoy his program. I do enjoy it personally. And you, Patrick, please, you do us a favor. We would like you to be one of the anchor in terms of interview in this particular new platform. It's very, very important because not everybody that are coming to that particular platform knows how to interview people. Somebody might even saying something, the person will cut it off and start. We will not allow that kind of flow to go on. Please, that's the only thing I want to say. We're enjoying the program.
Hope you have shared the program, by the way.
Definitely, I shared it immediately. I got this thing. I shared it for different platforms.
Continue sharing the program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mazi Austin. Back to our discussion. People are not making much. Okay, let's see if we have another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the program. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Mazi Chika.
You're welcome. You're welcome to the program. Go ahead.
I am calling from
2
Europe.
minutes.
Yeah, I'm calling from Europe. Okay. First of all, I would like to appreciate Mazi Chika for his should I say, his analysis so far. And I want to go straight to my question. My question is this: are we still going to allow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to remain where he is? And also, let me try and explain why I asked this question. He said, Mazi Chika said something about, he explained the reason why we shouldn't be advocating for violent approach. But we all know that there is no other better way to approach the Nigerian government or to approach the zoo without, violent approach. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu used to say that you can only cure rascality with rascality. I am telling you that even my mother sometimes, she's no longer feeling fine because of where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is. Most of us are no longer ourselves. So it is something of an emotional burden to us to wake up each morning and to realize that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention. So my question is this: if violent approach is not the best way, what should we do? Are we going to allow him to remain there?
Remain on the line. Remain on the line, because I would like Mazi Austin to respond. Now, but before Mazi Austin respond, there is something I want to let you know. That you can only move on in this struggle and do the right thing if you allow your emotions to die. So for you to be able to have a clear vision and a clear understanding of where we are and understand things that need to be done, you must first of all kill your emotion, because you've just talked about emotion, and emotion is the reason a lot of people are making mistakes in the struggle. Mazi Austin, do you have any response to give you?
Yes, I really appreciate him for his question. But let me say this. Biafran population is an amazing population because we have people from different background. We have people from different training, and that is one thing we should appreciate this struggle for. I'm coming from the background of as one who has spent reasonable number of years, if not more than a decade, studying international politics. So sometimes when I react the way I react, and someone else who have a different background reacts the way he reacts, we should not see every of these dimensions to be an absolute one. That is one. I am trying to be extremely careful in usage of language. He was talking about violent approach. I don't believe in anything violent approach. I don't believe the word violent approach, but I believe in strategic hitting of an enemy. You see, we must be very, very careful. Let me say something. I asked a Russian friend at the earlier stage of the war, Biafrans should learn because we learn every day. I asked a Russian friend at the early stage of the war, you understand me, that why is the Russian Federation going into war to Ukraine and they called it SMO? Master Patrick, do you know what SMO is? Special military operation. They didn't say it's war. Russia said they were going to Ukraine for SMO, special military operation. But Mazi Patrick, what is happening in Ukraine? Isn't that war?
The operation continues.
Russia decided to choose a word that is favorable for their own PR, public relation. But if it's our people, they will say they are going to war. That is stupidity. That is you not being smart. Russia called it special military operation. But when the West want to report about it, the West will say Russian war against Ukraine. And Russia said, no, it's not a war, it's a special military operation. So this idea of us saying violent approach, you don't know when there are some words you use. It sends wrong signal even when you are not yet prepared to implement it.
But these
So
are the
for me,
Mazi, these are the incitement that we are talking about. You know, somebody has
we
been
need to educate us.
somebody has been
We really need to
yes.
We really need to educate our people. Let me come again. I'm sorry to go down to the dialect, but for a reason. Oge Mazi Nnamdi Kanu na-achọ ibunye ụmụnna anyị ihe nchekwa. Why o ji si anọ ESN? Akwa ịma na ụmụnna anyị a na-akwa ndị iro, na-akwatu ndị iro. Why o ji kpọọ ya ESN? Why ọ na-akpọrọ ya ndị agha? Because our people do not understand language usage in things you do. You cannot come out and say, let us go to violent approach. Are you even, is your sense not intact? You're already telling yourself and even those who would have been sympathetic to your cause that you're going for destruction. Russia is destroying Ukraine. But till tomorrow, they have never accepted that it's a war. They say it's the SMO, special military operation. Israel is leveling Gaza. Do you know that Israel till tomorrow have never said it's war? They say it's a surgical operation against Hamas.
And
our people should learn
to rescue mission.
They call it a rescue and surgical operation against Hamas, but Gaza is already finished. Our people should be educated enough. Ogodi na ịchọrọ ịkwatu obodo a, chọọ ihe ị ga-akpụ ya ọ dị mma na ntị ndị na-awụrụ ndị nke anyị nwere ike inye anyị support. Sometimes we destroy our project without knowing because we are unguidedly in usage of language. So my brother, I don't buy into the concept of violence approach. If I might buy the idea with you. tie to matters in whatever you're doing. We have ESN today. I am arguing that ESN. Asịgodu na onwe ka o si daa, ịtụgharịa ha n'ihe a ji echi obodo ọwasị, but till tomorrow is still a network. It's still a network. Whereas some people who are not even in possession of anything have already started talking army, force, because they want to create a problem for themselves. So we need to be wise. We need to be wise as a
Very
people.
much, Kola.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And I
Okay.
think that
Please,
that have answered your
I would
question.
like to. I would like to conclude. I would like to conclude by. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. You have just
Yes,
30
sir.
seconds.
Okay, I would like to conclude by saying thank you for this sensitization. We are glad and we are solidly behind by DOS. And again, we have people that are supporting the DOS, and we are strongly behind you people. Please don't stop, don't give up. We
Thank
pray
you
that
very
you
much
go
for the
kick
call.
will
Thank you
strengthen
very
you.
much for the call. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
As a result, because Mazi Austin, it's important that you address critical issues. Most of the time, people are not given the opportunity to express themselves. And when people speak out of their own little understanding, you can judge them wrongly. So that is why you give, the platform is open for every Biafran to bring their thought and also their whatever opinion and criticism. We are here to address them. And
And I quite commend him for throwing it up. At least we have understood importance of language in what we are doing. Very, very important.
Yeah, but Mazi, I think that the usage of this language is being is being used. Let me say, is on purpose to instigate our people and also
Exactly.
paint the struggle black because we
Yeah. And that,
yes.
Mazi, that was exactly what they did to our fathers. When our fathers started asking for freedom, because of our fathers never understood the manipulation of language, they called them rebels. Do you know what happened when they called our fathers rebels? Some of our fathers were happy going into trenches. Now rebel, rebel. It was later on our people began to understand that no. Because our people needed to get American citizen sympathy as at that time. But Britain was telling Americans that these are rebels. And our fathers never did anything with that tag. You see, when people say if they call you a terrorist, if you cannot answer a terrorist, that means you're not a freedom. You are not smart. Even Hamas today does PR. That's why they went to Qatar, open an office in Qatar so that you can contact them.
And even
Why do they have office in
even
Qatar?
when Hamas is in reference as a terrorist organization, they tell you that they are freedom
They,
fighters.
yes, it's a PR. You must be smart. You must play ahead of your enemy. So somebody
But
cannot.
here we hear Mazi Austin, somebody jumping up in his bedroom, say he's ready to answer terrorists in the world.
No. You don't understand what is happening. Forget it. In few years to come, everything is going to get clearer. One amazing thing is that there is a documentation, there is compilation. You understand me? But nothing. Let me tell you. Today we are saying about the pedophile in America, the late pedophile, and people he did all silly things. Nothing lasts forever. Everything done in secret is a question of time will be in the open. So, but our people must be smart. Our people must be smart. We can't be readable. Any freedom fighters that are readable, they should go home and sit. Mazi, ị nwere ike imebi ihe. Ịpụta inye press statement that you condone, you condemn. Ịghọtara m na-ekwu? Is part of, you see, until our people understand politics, how dirty it is. In my politics has a political solution because you don't know. Britain is dealing with us because we have never understand how to play that dirty game they know how to play. Do you know why they're afraid of IPOB? Iwatch only Mazi short. Let's move to
So
some.
without mincing, well, we have already crossed an hour, and we want to talk about what has been happening in the Middle Belt in recent time, returning back from international politics back to the Middle Belt. How the indigenous people over there have been massacred, especially the 24th night, unexpectedly. The same Hamas strategy was used to decimate those communities. And these defenseless people were brought down, their homes burnt down in the middle of the night. And this destruction operation continued for the next 3 days without any military or security forces intervention. Mazi, what is your own view as regards to
Well, to me, I interpreted the incident or the ongoing incidents in Middle East on two faces.
no Middle
One
Belt?
is,
It's not Middle East. We are
yeah,
talking
for
about
Middle Belt.
yes.
Yes, I interpret it from dual fronts. One is the repercussions of people's ancestors, the deeds of someone's ancestor. Because when their ancestors were pillaging Biafran land in 60s, claiming they are expert in warfare, they never knew a day like this would come. Secondly, um, I'm interpreting it on the ground that there is nothing you can do because a certain people have believed that they need to conquer that region. You see, we don't know what ESN have, great work Mazi Nnamdi Kanu achieve for us with the establishment of ESN. That's why they are using the infiltrators to trying to bastardize it. The middle belt people, it is hard time they walk out of the conventional approaches and look away for an indigenous solution to their problem. Because even the Nigerian security is overstretched. Does Nigeria have security? Absolutely no. What you have are
But
underpaid men and women.
the security force is not part of this terrorist activity, because when we talk about Nigeria having security, not being able to protect its citizens, we seem to um, give them that coverage, as if they are not guilty, But as far as I'm concerned, when you look at the kind of operation that was carried out in recent days, and just also during the Buhari administration, you find out that it was the security forces that were clearing the path for these terrorists to operate.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's why I say Nigeria does not have a security. Why I say it does not have a security. Non-state actors seem to be richer than state actors in handling their recruits. Boko Haram seem to be paying well, taking care of their foot soldier than the officers of the Nigerian state. So in so doing, when you have such scenario on ground, believe you me, frustrated security personnel would want to work in understanding with the non-state actors just to survive. Because one thing you should understand is this. Countries, after training their personnel, they don't allow them to lack anything because a trained personnel can be used positively and negatively. He has acquired expertise. And that's exactly what is happening in Nigeria. It seems that when Nigerian government finished training their soldiers, Boko Haram will acquire them easily with little offers. Because money that are mapped out for this personnel, one politician, one general, one top officer will just squander it. Use it and carry girls in Sheraton. These are monies that are meant for the benefit of these people. So you now tell me a security officer that is somewhere in Plateau, maybe in Shendam, and the wife is telling him that the baby is sick and he does not have money to buy drug. Then Boko Haram reaches him and say, can you share intelligence for us? We're going to give you 200,000, 300,000. Don't you think the person will cross carpet? So politicians are the ones to be blamed because they destroyed and polarized the society. But Nigerian politicians don't take responsibility. Even though when they told you that snake swallowed money, who opened the door for the snake? No place for human factor. They just say snake swallow, believe it. Who opened the gate for snake? Nobody. Who took the camera when this? Who was managing the CCTV camera? Nobody, because they hate to take responsibility, Mazi. So that is what it is. So, in as much as you have this crop of politicians in Nigeria, Plateau State and other sister Middle Belton states will definitely be bleeding. Highest you read it in news, and the politicians move on. In as much as none of their family member is involved, they move on. That is their nature. They have no soul. Nigerian leaders have no.
And Mazi, we have also seen recently the recruitment of the military, how some northern indigenes took positions, positions of other states within the military, a kind of
Mhm,
infiltration as well. So does it mean
mhm.
that a sector of the country have completely hijacked the security architecture to the point
No,
that this, yes,
what happens in North and military is not necessarily issue of passion. Not have excess outflow because of their birth rate system, the way they produce keys. So naturally, their allies or the so-called northern allies believe that the best way to do is to push them in security forces as a way of curtailing idleness, because they
and
believe that
and,
if they are
and
not.
unemployment.
Yes, they believe that if they don't push them there, the Fulani militias, the Fulani terrorists will recruit and the bandits, because the bandits seem to be recruiting more personnel than even the government. So their elites believe that the best way to solve their problem is not to open industry. That is not an elites. Not even develop agriculture, but push them to the government. Let the liability be upon government. And the government you want to push them to is even a dying government. It's a government that is running on deficit. Over 80% of her annual budget is using on debt services. That's why when we say to you, it's not all about what IPOB is doing that is going to collapse Nigeria. Nigeria is on autopilot to destruction. It's already programmed for destruction, courtesy of the activities of the politicians. But the politicians want you to see that those who are making Nigeria not to be workable is IPOB. No! IPOB is only letting the populace, the naive populace, to understand just what we are doing. We are educating the people to understand why Nigeria will never be redeemed. So because we choose not to be quiet like the rest of the gullibles, they now say we are the bad eggs. No. What is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu crime? That he sensitized Nigerians. He exposed the evil inherent in Nigerian politicians, and they said he has committed treason. If he's applauding them, he would have been a sentiment Nnamdi Kanu on their lips. But they can't stop us from saying, because we know the easiest way to collapse a system is touch in a darkness, put a little illumination, everything will collapse. And that is what we are doing. Of course, as a matter of fact, we keep on exposing the state. It doesn't matter how anybody thinks about it, Maz.
Mazi, thank you very much. I hope that more people could call in the next 15 minutes before we round up. We've missed some series of calls. If you want to call in, I believe the number is still on the screen. Plus 39 371 325 7926. And I'll be waiting for your calls. For those who want to ask questions, BTV will be coming to you regularly, we promise. And we would also be bringing more analysts. We'll be bringing more people to shed light on events that takes place on a weekly and on daily basis. I'll continue to anchor the program. to make sure that Biafrans are enlightened and educated to understand that warfare is not about carrying pump action and be shooting pregnant women and market women and destroying our infrastructures. Mazi, we have never seen America, the greatest of all warmongers, bring a war to their own doorstep. Rather, they fight it outside. Mazi. But in this situation, we see people drawing war to their own doorstep. Mazi Austin, do you understand what I'm saying? I think Mazi Austin is having some network issues there. While we wait for your calls, I want to use this opportunity to tell Biafrans that as a matter of fact, you have to understand what the time is. And because the struggle for Biafra has been managed effectively, that is the reason we are still here today. That is the reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still breathing, because those at the helm of affair did not fall into the trap that was set to them. Because when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was Extraordinary Rendition from Kenya, the objective was to incite us through emotions, build, because they understand how emotional our people are. So we saw people who were contracted to instigate our emotions, to come out to the street and start shouting and fighting and start destroying ourselves, then giving them the opportunity to finish that job, to make sure that IPOB and Biafran people are decimated. But because of the wisdom, because of the understanding of those at the helm of affair of the struggle, they understood that it was time to take a sober reflection and look at the strategies that are needed for the moment. And a lot of people didn't understand. They thought that the leadership of IPOB have sold out because they didn't come out and start making problem or start shooting or start creating criminality like many people have been meant to to do recently. At every point in time, when you are driving a car, you don't just go on a freeway. Even when you are on express, you must understand that there is a time for you to hold brake and change your gear. Because that express that you are driving, there could also be obstruction on the way. So it is very, very important that our people understand that Biafra struggle is not just on a highway, movement and process, that it has to be strategic, that you have to, look at events as they unfold and know when to hold your brake, know when to change your gear, know when to put on reverse, because that is the only way you can survive it. If you continue to fire and continue to move in the same direction, you are not heading anywhere. You're going to crash along the way. And that is why we have seen that the momentum of IPOB have been sustained. No matter how slow you think it is better to move slowly, cautiously, and consistently rather than moving fast and crashing yourself. And our people, the enemies understand. They understand perfectly well that the mentality and the understanding of our people, that we can easily give up. We are people who can easily give up. Just what happened between the 1967 to 1970, our people fought with all their energy. They fought with everything they had. They fought with all their resources. They decimated their economy. Everything was destroyed. And after 3 years, they didn't have option than to return back again and start rebuilding and start afresh. And even the north that they were massacred and, the north, that same north where their dead bodies were returned about 3-4 years earlier, many of them started running back to that same north. Some of them started returning back to Kano. Some of them started returning back to Kaduna. Why? Because they've used every resources at their disposal to fight this war. Just imagine that the war between Nigeria and Biafra was well planned, which we have been telling the world that we never declared war. It was Nigeria that declared war on us. Just imagine that during that period that our people were pressuring, telling Ojukwu, declare Biafra, we are ready to fight, that they have taken their time, to put all the infrastructures together. Just imagine that they have used all the diplomatic arsenal that was available. If they have put in all that energy in building friendship around the world, because one of the reasons that Nigeria won the war was because they had allies all over the place. They were able to defeat Biafra not in their own strength, not in their own capacity, but because they have allies all over the place. Just imagine that the Biafran people between 1967, within the 3 years that they put all their energy in fighting war, have used that time and the resources to build allies and make friends. Do you think we would have lost the war? And it will be stupidity to make the same mistake again. Just because somebody somewhere is inciting you, because you want to show that you are violent, forgetting that even the people you are dealing with are the masters of violence. Because the criminals that are leading Nigeria today are the masters of violence. And that is the area they want you to come from. They want you to come in that area of violence because that is what they are good at. They are not good in dialogue. We've seen what happened now in the law court, in their own law court. They went to Kenya, took Mazi Nnamdi Kanu forcefully, extradited him to Nigeria, and they could not even prove their case. Is that not enough for you to know that that is their own area of weakness? So why should you go and engage them in their own area of strength? When Ojukwu went to Aburi to negotiate with Gowon, he was able to run a good negotiation because that is our area of strength. Our area of strength is areas of negotiation. And when Gowon came back to Nigeria, they told him, no. The Ojukwu have, the guy have defeated you. And all the negotiations, all the peace and agreements that were made were all dropped because they just discovered that, they failed in that negotiation. They felt that everything was in favor of the Biafran people. That Ojukwu took everything, took advantage of Gowon's lack of intelligence through negotiation. You see, so this is where we must appreciate IPOB leadership, who understand the strength that Biafran people have, the area of negotiation. And I can guarantee you that if we put our energy in that area, we will do absolutely very well. Because you must look at your own area of strength and capitalize on it. You don't just go and confront your enemy in their own area of strength, which is violence. So I want our people to understand that at every point in time, we must take advantage of what we have anytime we are at war. You can't be at war, but you don't have to even shoot a gun. We have seen countries go to war without firing a bullet. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it, that he's going to destroy the zoo without firing a bullet because he understands our area of strength. He understands that exposing the zoo called Nigeria is enough. And his case in court have even done more exposure. His case in court have shown that Nigeria lacked the capacity to even defend its own law and even make its own law work. So what else do you expect when you have already had a victory? It's like somebody who is winning in a tournament. A winner in a tournament do not go to destroy his own victory. It is those that are losing that would want to destroy your own victory. When you are winning in a game, you are winning in a tournament, you want that tournament to run peacefully because you are ahead. If IPOB is winning in court, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is winning in court, why should you now go and destroy the process when you know that you have victory already? It takes a stupid person to do that. You cannot go and destroy your own victory and handing your victory over to the enemy. So when you declare war, automatically you have already lost. Even in the court case where you have victory, you have also lost there because you have left your area of strength and start working in your area of weakness. Because if you want to declare war on the zoo called Nigeria, you must also look at your own capacity. Just like Mazi Austin said earlier, who and who will stand by you when the chips are down? So it is very, very important that our people understand some of the rudiments, because I know that the problem of our people is just like the caller said, that is emotion. You know, that they emotionally that they cannot bear it. And your enemy knows that you are emotional people. And that is the reason you must kill your emotion. And you, who is talking about emotion, who is emotional, is there any difference between you and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is in detention? There's no difference. There's no difference. Because if the zoo catches you tomorrow, you are still going to face the same thing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is facing. So if you are outside and you are being emotional, what then happens if you be in the position of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Then you are going to give up. The few times I will have seen Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court, did you see him emotional? Do you see him crying and begging, though, I want to leave, I'm tired of DSS custody, I want to go home? He even told them that he's ready to stay as long as they want him to stay because he has killed his emotion. And that is the reason you must not allow yourself to be incited. You must kill your emotion. And until you kill your emotion, then you have not started in the struggle for Biafra restoration. Because for you to be able to prove yourself in the struggle for Biafra restoration, number one thing and the first thing you must kill is your emotion. Because the struggle for Biafra restoration does not run on emotion. They run on practical things. They run on realities. And you must face the reality. Just like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is facing the reality in DSS custody. And many, not just Mazi, many of our comrades are facing the reality in DSS custody. So I want to encourage Biafrans to drop emotions, face the reality, because that is the only way forward. For as long as we continue to work with our emotions, we'll always get it wrong. My name remains Mazi Ikem Patrick, your anchor for the day. It's my pleasure to have you. And I encourage every Biafran to share this program wherever you might be. Invite your friends BTV is here to stay. Our job is to continue to enlighten you, and that will be coming your way in no distant time. And I say, may Chukwu Okike Abiyama bless you and have a wonderful evening, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.